Hi, folks. I'm Richard Friedman, and welcome to my political cartoon countdown for July 29th, 2024. Every few weeks or so, we get together and off of X, my cartoons that I upload on X, we do the top three cartoons in terms of impressions and popularity, and I shoot it out to you based upon, again, the impressions. And for this week here, starting off with number 3, here we have Justice Clarence Thomas here, and his friend Samuel Alito there, Justice Samuel Alito, Justice Clarence Thomas. And then we have the Chief Justice here, Chief Justice John Roberts. And then here is Justice Neil Gorsuch. And then we have Justice Amy Coney Barrett. And then I think that I covered them all. Oh, here, and then we can't Justice Brett Kavanaugh. And that's the gang of 6 conservative justices who basically ruled that it were the majority ruling on the Supreme Court decision to give now Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump an immunity decision that basically expanded his immunity to include things that he did under official acts, which now is apparently affecting the cases that are going before the courts, because of the fact that they're saying now that some of the evidence that was used in that case, in terms of the 34 felony convictions and things like that, and also the January 6th thing, and everybody, and even I heard today, even Mark Meadows is jumping on board with his trying to claim immunity, and he's not a president. He was never president of the United States. He was the basically he worked in the office there, and he was the White House chief of staff there, Mark Meadows, and he's trying to claim that, get under that immunity umbrella himself, to really expand that even further to include people who are not president. So they're going to the full limit on that. So here is a cartoon based upon that here. Okay, now here we got the cartoon here, and I'm going to read it to you so I don't screw up. Okay, presumptive Republican presidential nominee. Then it was presumptive. This is before he got the nomination. So this was back on July 5th that I did this. Presumptive Republican, nominee. Let's say Republican presidential nominee now. Donald Trump, day one vision of addressing the nation from the Supreme Court, if elected, and thanking the court's Republican-appointed justices who I've just shown here. Okay. And thanking the court's Republican-appointed justice, including the 3 Trump appointees, for a brand new constitutional immunity from criminal liability for a president's, quote, official acts, or anything a president may do using the powers of the office, and again, that gives an umbrella and expands the immunity. Okay, while in office, and that now what they've done here is they've taken it outside when he's out of office. Even if he's out of office, that still is like retroactive, because he still was president. So I don't see the founding fathers, if they came back today, I don't see them going along with this. I really don't. But okay, that from the court's July 1st 6-3 ruling. So those were the 6 justices that I just pointed out to you who made that ruling, who were for that immunity expansion. Trump keeping his statement that he will be a dictator only on day one. Quote, day one. That's what he said, word for word. And after that, I'm not a dictator. That's what he said. So this was from July 5th. And here we have this. There we go. And here we have the justices. I've already pointed them out to you. Okay. Okay. Here we are. There's the Supreme Court. And there's Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump. I'll zoom in here. There's the presidential seal there. Okay, and this is his, again, designation from the day one vision. This is a vision of his day one in office. Okay, so you have to understand this is a vision of now let's just say President Donald J. Trump. This is his vision as president for day one, that he will be a dictator on day one, but only on day one. That's what he's saying here. Okay, so anyway, I make an analogy here. I made an analogy that that's like a kid who, on the first day of school, he comes in to the principal's office and says, "Look, Mr. Jones, today is the only day that I'm going to break windows in the school and blow up and make stink bombs and maybe vandalize a few cars. I'm going to only do it today, but after that, I'm going to be on the honor roll, and I'm going to be a great student after that. This is only the first day of school that I'm going to do that." That's a kind of analogy there. I used to be a math teacher. Okay, so anyway, here goes the cartoon. Okay, here we got it. Supreme Court in the background. There he goes, dressed, going to the Supreme Court on day one. And here he is. "My fellow Americans, on this day one, I thank you. I thank our fantastic Supreme Court for this majority opinion that gave me immunity for official acts, like being a dictator on this special day to protect our democracy and Constitution." And here goes. And here goes Clarence Thomas here, handing him his ruling. You see? There it is. He's handing off the ruling to now President Trump. That was his written ruling, authorizing him the immunity that he sought. So on day one, he has immunity. He's a dictator on day one, a dictator with immunity. Okay, on day one, he's a dictator with immunity. Okay, watch out. Okay, so there goes, and there goes Clarence Thomas here, handing over his decision to now President Trump. And he's saying, "President Trump, we wish you better official days than this. Because, in the years of greatness ahead of your new administration." So, and again, that's a play on official days. You see, because this is not only his first day a president where he can be a dictator, but he can operate under the immunity of anything he does today that's official. He can't be prosecuted for. So he's like a super dictator in a way. It's like divine right theory. If you ever study that in high school history or world history, where the king, anything he did, or he can do what he pleases because he's the divine right principle, that he's a divine right. He has a right the king has a right to do what he pleases. And going back to President Nixon, who said if the president does it, it's legal. That was former President Nixon in an interview said, if the president does it, it's not illegal. That was his very words. So here it is. So we're saying now, if the president does it, anything the president does, he can't be prosecuted because he has immunity. Okay, so there we go. Here it is. Okay. That was numero 3 de la semana, number 3 of the week. Of the weeks, I should say. A few weeks since I've done this. A few weeks. So here it is. There it is. Thumbs up. They're all giving him a thumbs up. And there it is. The Supreme Court. Okay. I have to say this. I just thought in my mind that when we go back to the Roman Empire, the senators in the Roman Empire, they didn't let Julius Caesar get away with that much. In the end, I ain't going to go there. But I'm just saying to you that it seems to me against our fundamental principle of democracy, that everybody is equal on the law, and that they've crossed the line here. They've crossed the Rubicon of saying now the president, anything he does within official capacity can be protected, and it has to be litigated to the nth degree to see if he can be prosecuted. So that's my point here. And once you have that, and then you don't have you lose the democracy, and that's what it's a democracy doesn't die in one day; it fades away. Like General MacArthur says, great generals just fade away, and great democracies just fade away. I'm saying that to what General MacArthur said. So there it is. I don't want to get into the Roman Empire, because that has too many connotations there, So I strike that from the record there. Okay, there it is. I don't go back that far. Okay, there it is. There we have it. All right. Now we have numero dos de los semanas, number 2 of the weeks that have gone by. Here we have Donald. Let's just give you the cartoon first here. You see, originally, when President Biden was going to fight it out and stay, and before the disastrous debate, they had planned a second debate that would also be on ABC, and so the idea was basically to go along continue with ABC, and Donald Trump agreed to that, and the Republican Party agreed to that. But now, since the change with Kamala Harris, now they don't want to honor that anymore, because they're saying it's not the agreement was with President Biden, it wasn't with Kamala Harris. So there's no agreement that's being broken. You see, so that's what they're saying, and yet they're trying to tie President Trump and Kamala Harris to saying she's the same thing. It's the same thing. They're saying it's the same policy, same thing, but yet they're saying now it's saying, well, it's not the same thing because it was with President Biden and now it's with Kamala Harris. So it's a little bit, they have it one way and then the other way, and it's either she is the same thing or she ain't the same thing. So I let you decide that one. So anyway, that's something I just thought of anyway. So anyway, here we got this here. And the idea here is Donald Trump, Republican presidential nominee, watching news last Sunday that President Joe Biden has dropped out of the 2024 presidential race. That was last Sunday, a week ago, yesterday. That amid Trump envisioning a second hosted ABC debate against presumptive Democratic presidential nominee. Again, that was before Kamala Harris rounded up the delegates and she became such a whirlwind in the party, and this was before that took place. This is the first moments of on that Sunday night when Biden announced that. So, okay, Vice President Kamala Harris and the Republican presidential nominee saying, "I'm not thrilled." This is word for word from Republican nominee for President Donald Trump. This is word for word. "I'm not thrilled with ABC now, and I don't like the idea now. Despite ABC was okay against Biden," that's my interjection, "given on Sunday," he suggested on Truth Social, a Fox News debate. So he wants to go with Fox News debate. Okay, so anyway, so here we have this here. So now he's saying he's watching it. Here he is. Okay, this was before. Okay, so he's watching it, and he's saying, "With Sleepy Joe out, no way I'm debating Camilla or fake news ABC. I just don't like that idea anymore. I can really envision it." So he's envisioning how it would go if he went through with the debate as they agreed to, but now Well, I said that already. So anyway, so he's envisioning how it would go if he went through with the agreement. Okay, so that was number one here. Number two, and then we have here David Muir, who's conducting the interview here. David Muir, ABC World News Tonight. He was the one who was going to be who was going to host it, along with Lindsay Davis, also from ABC News. And here is David Muir asking a question that I concocted in my own mind, imagining what David would have asked him, and in my own way putting it. President Trump, you call President Putin a savvy, this is word, I'm not making this up, President Putin a savvy genius, which is true, for phrasing Russia's Ukraine invasion as a war for independence. So it was very flattering. Mr. Trump was very I'll say Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump was very flattering to Russian President Putin in saying he's a genius for the way he phrased his invasion of Ukraine by saying it was a move for independence, like he was removing a foreign regime from power, and he was the legitimate ruler of Ukraine. That's his position, you know. And it had been part of the Soviet Union, you know. So, okay. And in the last debate, you said if you had been president, Putin never would have invaded Ukraine. So again, Republican presidential nominee, Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump said if he had been president, that Russian President Putin would not have gone into Ukraine. It never would have happened because he had too much respect for him and everything like that. He said that. I heard him say it. How do you reconcile those two statements? Because on one hand, you're saying that he never would have done it, and then you're glorifying him for having done it. You know, I could come up with a lot of analogies there, but I ain't going to go there. You know, just think about President Roosevelt saying to some dictator something like that around World War II. That's as far as I'm going to go with that, you know. I ain't going to go nowhere else. I ain't going to go any further than that. Okay. So how do you reconcile? And then here comes Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump. There's Kamala Harris over here, and there's Mr. Trump here, and here it goes, and here it goes. You see? And he's saying, I always admired President Putin, whether you like him or don't like him. He's doing a great job in rebuilding Russia. Word for word that he had said at some point. He didn't say this he said it in the past. And he respects me more than Biden, and praised my promising to end the war in Ukraine. And President Putin praised for the presidential nominee Donald Trump for his peace efforts to end the war in Ukraine. And obviously, Putin has laid down the groundwork that there are 4 territories that he will not give up, that he wants to keep, that he won in victories, that have to remain under Russian control for him to even go to the peace talks, to begin peace talks. These 4 territories have to be given up: the Donetsk region and the Luhansk region, and then you have your other area up in the north, and then you have your area in the south, and down below there. So those territories have to be basically given to Russia. 4 territories. So he's not President Putin is not going to just go to the peace talks for peace. He's going to go there under the precondition that he has those 4 territories, and that's a prerequisite, a requirement for that to happen, for peace talks. Okay. So here goes again. I always admired President Putin. This is President Trump here. I always admired President Putin, whether you like him or don't like him. He's doing a great job in rebuilding Russia, and he respects me more than Biden, and praised my promising to end the war in Ukraine, which is a good thing. He says his relationship with President Putin is a good thing, that he likes him, and he likes him, and it's a good thing. And here goes Kamala Harris in the debate. A very, very, she says that a good thing for Putin. Okay, so she's saying that here. Here it is. Here it is. A zoom in on Kamala Harris, and she's saying, good for Putin. You know, there she is. So that's her retort, a very brief retort that I put in the cartoon for her to say. There it is. And there's Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump and presumptive Democrat nominee Kamala Harris debating here. Okay. There you have it. Okay. Now, this was numero uno de los semanas, number one of the weeks. Gone by. Boy, these weeks go fast. Okay, here we have the Republican, here that big night, the RNC, Republican National Convention, where former, he transitioned from a nominee, from a presumptive nominee to the nominee. That's where the transition occurred, and he named his VP, J.D. Vance, came out with him for the first time, and here you have it. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. I was going to play YMCA, Young Man, but I decided to leave that one out. You don't have to embellish it. President Trump likes to use that song. They don't like it too much, the Village People, when he uses it. But anyway, that was just a side thing. Okay, so here we go. Here is the RNC. There we go. Vance, Trump, and here we have Stalin, who was the Russian leader who fought off the Nazis. He was a strong man, and I suspect that President Putin has admired him, has spoken. I think he has mentioned him before. He admires his leadership, the way he did rally his troops to defeat the Nazis coming in, who were invading their country, which was a great victory, and turned the tide of the war. Okay, so there he is. His response when he's watching this Republican National Convention, Russian President Putin's response to what's going on here, and I'm going to read this to you so I get you get the full picture. Russian President Vladimir Putin watching the Republican National Convention from Milwaukee amid Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump embracing Senator J.D. Vance, Republican Ohio, as his running mate. Given Vance has argued that the U.S. cannot sustain its support for Ukraine. He's heavy against that, heavy against the support of Ukraine, which is basically an isolation. President, for his vice president, he's picked an isolationist. Vance, the only thing is, he believes that we have to focus in on China. I'm not going to make any analogies there. I just think you got enemies in this world, and it's hard to divorce. You have all these. You have it's just like the constellation. Look up the sky, and you see the solar system. Well, you've got a solar system of countries now that are potential enemies to us, are enemies in many ways. And to say, well, there's only one thing. I mean, they're all interrelated now, because you can't say that Russia's our friend and China's our friend, China's our enemy and Russia's our friend, because they're interacting. China it has been helpful to Russia in terms of buying a lot of their gas, their gas products, and also in a lot of other ways, maybe in many other ways. And they've forged a military alliance, and said a very strong one, and that's basically. And to say you can't, you're going to say, well, this guy is my enemy. This guy's my friend. You have to take a unified, a clear-cut approach that says, well, if you ally yourself with one of our enemies, then I don't know how you can be our friend if you for China to make this move, and is okay. They say, okay, China is our enemy. And Russia's our friend, and yet just the other day they had those. You saw the ships 200 miles off the coast of Alaska. You had Russian and Chinese ships. I did a cartoon about that. That you can check that out on X. I did a cartoon about that on the Bronx Cartoonist. You could check that out, and it shows the 200 miles. They're off the coast of Alaska doing a joint military. These were military planes flying 200 miles. 200 miles ain't that far, and together doing a joint action. So how could you say then that our enemy is our main enemy is China, not Russia's our friend? I don't know how you can. Russia wasn't there flying with China to protect the United States. They didn't fly their plane with China. The Russians didn't fly their plane with China to protect the United States. They said, well, we're going to protect the United States in case China decides to do something. We're going to protect America. They weren't there for that. They were there to show force of their unification. And one guy wants Taiwan, and the other guy wants Ukraine. And nobody was looking out for the United States. They just wanted to flex their muscles there. So how could you make that statement? I don't know how you can do it, but they're doing it, and I'm just bringing out the point. Make people think, but I don't want to condemn nobody, call no names, or anything like that. I'm just saying to you that this is just the facts with a little humor injected there, So anyway, so here is what now. President Putin's taking all this in the Kremlin. Here he is sitting in the Kremlin, underneath his Russian flag with a photo of Stalin, his comrade Stalin, comrade Joseph Stalin, up on the wall there with his Russian flag there, and he's looking up and he's watching this whole thing here, and everybody is yelling USA, USA, USA. Everybody started applauding USA, USA. So he's going. Here goes Russian President Putin, and he's going to say, Comrade Stalin, we know that Trump and Vance will trade Ukrainian territory for peace. And as he already said that, Trump has already said that. USSR, USSR, USSR. So he said USSR, USSR, USSR. That's what Putin is saying here. With Stalin here, as he looks up to him and looks up to the convention. All right, folks, that's my political cartoon countdown for tonight. I wish you the best of luck. God bless America, and I pray for peace in all over in Ukraine and what's going on now with that we don't get into a huge war in the Mideast between Hezbollah and Israel. And then you're gonna have Hamas and then you're gonna be, and it's just it could be a mess. And I pray that rational minds prevail. Let's just say that. I pray that rational minds prevail, and that there is some way that peace can be maintained in the Mideast. That we don't have a catastrophic war there. That would be disastrous, bringing in Iran, and it could be a whole mess there. And I pray for that, and I pray for our troops stationed all around the world. And I'll say it again to you. God bless you. God bless America. And I'll see you next time, folks. Take care. Bye.